Your thoughts are huge. Don't get me wrong. Like, I struggle every day. I think everybody struggles every day. Waking up and, sometimes you have thoughts that are, disowning or thoughts that bring you down. But the huge thing is recognizing, and for me, anyways, the huge thing is recognizing those insecurities or those thoughts that are causing insecurities or those thoughts that are gonna bring me down. Recognizing them, and then, are they fact or are they fiction? Are they real or are they not real? Am I proposing a subjective thing that hasn't happened yet? You know what I mean? So it's good to recognize subjective things that could happen to you, but it's not good for you to allow your emotions and who you are be determined by something that has not happened or that most likely won't happen.
Craft Your Life is a radio show for the tenacious, the bold, and those who refuse to settle for mediocrity. We bring together visionaries, game changers, and relentless go-getters who are crafting their lives, businesses, and relations in pursuit of excellence. If you are ready to shatter limits, embrace the amazing, and live life on your own terms, this show is for you. Each episode delivers actionable insights, inspiring stories, and unfiltered conversations that will ignite your drive to win a life worth dying for. Tune in and get ready to live viciously. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the Craft Your Life radio show. I'm your host, Matt Kuhlhorn. Today, I've got a special guest. His name's Joredan Quigley. He is the founder of Smart Living Water, the go-to expert for whole home saltwater, salt-free water purification in Colorado. Joredan's just not improving water, he's improving lives. His advanced systems eliminate harmful contaminants, protect health, and bring peace of mind to families across the Grand Valley and beyond. I'm really excited to sit down with you today, Joredan. Thank you so much for joining.
Absolutely. I appreciate you having me.
Yeah. Tell the listeners where you're beaming in from. Where are you at
So,
right now?
Yep, I'm at home right here in Grand Junction, Colorado. Had a
Awesome.
couple of appointments this morning and ran those and then came back home really quick.
Yeah, I love it. I'm
Absolutely.
really excited to chat with you. I know we had a good little warm-up conversation. There's some really interesting places that we're going to go in our conversation today.
Yeah, I think so.
I just want to build out a little bit of context. And my understanding is you grew up here in Grand Junction.
I did. So I was born and raised here in Grand Junction. I went to Fruita High School, and then I moved away to Southeast Missouri to their college. So
Okay,
yeah.
amazing. What was growing up like? What was childhood like for Joredan?
Sports. Sports. That was my childhood, man. Never lived with my dad, and he's an amazing guy, and devoted my life basically to sports as a kid.
Yeah. I asked you before we jumped on the record if you've always been a health nut, because I think of you as pretty disciplined these days.
Yes.
Tell us a little bit about that journey for yourself. So
Yeah.
obviously sports, you're kind of into it.
Yeah.
Where did
Yes.
it go?
Sports really started it, I would say, weightlifting and running and all of the things. And then, whenever I went over to college, I was still, I wanted to be a personal trainer. I mean, that was my goals. And then, those switched about 10 times as they do when you're younger, trying to figure out what you want to do. But essentially, I've always been into what's healthy for me, keeping myself healthy. We want to live and be the best versions of ourselves. And, there's ebbs and flows with that. We go through cycles of times that are harder or times that we don't really pay attention as much. But the older I've gotten, I found easier ways to make sure and always be in check with myself and stay disciplined to be the best version of myself. So,
Why is that important for you? Where does that come from?
man, that is important for me because I'm always trying to better myself in some sort of way. And in order to better myself, I have to have mental clarity. And mental clarity for me comes when I relieve all my stress by working out, by running, challenging myself. I think that it's super important to challenge ourselves and see, where we're at is nowhere near where our potential is. And that's for anybody. Even if you're at the top, your potential is still higher. There's still more that you can do. And I feel like that as, especially as a business owner now, not only do I want to see my business thrive, I want to be able to thrive myself. And so I'm always creating new goals. 2 weeks ago, 3 weeks ago, did a 25-mile run over, Buena Vista. Why? My whole family ended up doing it, but it was a challenge. You know what I mean? It was something that I'd never done. And something I had to prepare for. So just the little things. I think that setting goals and having something to live for, as far as building yourself up, is super important. And whenever you first start, I think that starts by just showing up. Showing up to the gym, or kind of like we talked about earlier, the promises. And we'll get into that whenever.
Yeah.
But um,
Yeah. I find it fascinating, man, because I mean, there's so many people that say they want to do something. They want to do X, Y, and Z. They want to get the six pack. They want to lose the pounds. They want to do whatever it is physically or, materialistically. But there's like 2% of the people that actually follow through.
well, and it's because, and I don't know. In my opinion, I mean, we all have great thoughts. We all have great ideas. But do we set a plan in action? Um, you know, the thoughts is only the beginning of a process. And it's like, kind of like drawing up a map of what you want to do. Everybody can draw up a map or an outline before you write an essay, but whether you follow that outline is up to you. And I think that it really just takes some discipline, and it doesn't take a lot of discipline. Once you get going, you understand, and you get in the flow of it. But to get started, I mean, it's one of those things where everybody says, "Oh, I don't know if I have time." But, making time. It's not that you don't have time, it's about making time. And that goes for anybody and everybody. No matter how busy you are, you can find an hour a day to set out. Maybe wake up an hour early. And that's one thing that I always thought about. I go to the gym obviously in the first thing in the morning. I see you there every morning. But the thing about it is, I had made a dedication to myself, a promise to myself, that I would wake up an hour early and be there no matter what, maybe an hour and a half early. And the thing about it is, yeah, maybe I lose that hour of sleep because I have to stay up for kids or whatever I have to do, but maybe I lose that hour of sleep. But in the long run, over 10 years, what is that hour of working out going to do for myself? It's going to build my self esteem. It's going to allow me to, kind of like I was talking about earlier with you, is the promises. I feel like as men, or just anybody in general, we make promises to all kinds of people. Oh, I promise I'm going to do this, or I promise I'm going to be there. But then whenever it comes to ourselves, we sacrifice. We don't keep our promises to ourselves. And it doesn't mean that other people have to sacrifice for us to keep our promises to ourselves. It just means that we need to find a way to make it happen no matter what. That waking up an hour early could lower cholesterol, keep you out of the hospital. It could, increase the length of your life. Being conscious about what you're eating. Um, Taking the time to learn what's good, what's not good for you, where should I be as far as what am I eating. Nobody's perfect. I had a cheeseburger on Saturday. We all have days that we eat whatever we want, cheeseburgers and fries, but is that good for you, and am I doing it all the time? So being conscious about how often you're not eating well, and maybe how often you are eating well. I'm very, very strict on my diet. So I'm not saying that everybody should be super strict on their diet. I have goals that I'm trying to achieve, and that's why I'm there. Um, but being conscious of what you're doing can change your whole life. Absolutely.
Yeah. This is, I can't, I'm going to keep digging here because
Okay.
there's pieces that are riding under the radar, and I want to pull them out for folks because this is amazing. And I'm going to relate this a little bit to my journey as well, because these days, I've leveled my game, and it has been very consciously chosen and architected. And so there's some tools in my background, and I would imagine these similar style tools are in your life. So that's where I'm kind of digging and exploring, because there's guys and gals listening right now that um, have intentions to do stuff to up level their world, and they don't. And that is just so common. I mean, people see it on social and they're like, "Oh my gosh, the grass is greener over there." And then they're like, "I'm not gonna take any action anyway." And and so, you know, I where do I wanna start? I wanna go in 2 veins. One is, um, first and foremost, like, are is a why for you underlying, like, is this something that your dad role modeled, or did you connect with really healthy mentors and want to aspire to be like them, so you're getting driven in this way? Like, what's the why underneath, like, targeting goals and actually committing to the daily repetitive actions in order to achieve them?
Matt, there's all kinds of places that it comes from. So obviously, my dad with working out when I was young, playing football, playing baseball, playing basketball, doing all of these things is kind of where it started. But what it really got down to was, spending time with myself, getting to know myself. I am very, very driven in the fact that I want to do more things than I could possibly ever do. And so what really, really pushes me is that I know that we are all our own worst critics, right? But I know that I could be better and I know I could do better at certain things. And yes, I mean, you see, obviously, these guys, they go up, these bodybuilders, you see all these things like, oh, like, oh, okay, that's for somebody else or whatever. But like all these little things, like I'm like, deeper I get, the more I want. So it's like the more I work out, the more I want to do this. And then I put up another goal and then I meet it. And then it's like another goal. And so I get deeper and deeper and deeper. And then that's definitely not for everybody. But what really drives it is that, I came, doing some, I mean, through reading, and then also, my faith as well. I believe in God and, being the healthiest person I can for myself, but also for my family. You know what I mean? I want to be around for my
Mhm.
family in 50 years. You know,
Yeah.
I want to leave something for my family. I want to be able to provide and be that person. I don't want to not be able to be there for my kids whenever they're 30 years old. I still want to be there, So one of the huge things for me is not only all of those things put together, but then there's like this inner fire that's inside of me. And it's like, as you start, everybody starts to develop that fire. You like you and you see it all over the place because you'll see somebody they'll just barely start hitting the gym and then they'll, sometimes people fall off and then they'll come back, but you start to feel good. And whenever you realize, not just only do you get like the endorphins from working out, but when you start eating healthy and you start feeling good and you start looking good, it's a confidence booster, right? So it builds your confidence in who you are. And then you start to trust yourself and believe in yourself. And I think that the more of that I caught, the more of the trust, the more of the belief in myself, and the more mental clarity, honestly, from not eating the processed foods and or trying to avoid the processed foods. We're not perfect, and trying to work out, more often and more often. You get this mental clarity and you just feel like you're on top of the world. And honestly, my whole life fell into connections to where everything just made more sense. Everything was easier to be on top of. I think procrastination is a killer. That's Procrastination is the killer of dreams and everything. And I found myself at a certain point in my life where I was procrastinating a lot of stuff. I had all these good intentions and all these good goals, and I didn't want to. And I was doing the self reflection, and I had some time, about a week and a half, to self reflect on myself. And I thought to myself, do you want to be that guy that always has the good ideas, that always has the good goals, or always has, always says they're going to do this, but like, what are you really doing? Are you putting like your feet on the pavement? Are you going to make the changes? And what does that require? That requires discipline. And I fell in love with discipline. I hated it at first because I mean, who wants to wake up an hour early? Who wants to not, run through the drive through real quick and eat something good? But once you fall into the discipline and you get used to being disciplined, you start to feel better just within yourself altogether. And I'm telling you, it's just like, there's like a fire that caught on my back and now it's just nonstop. And I'm more successful in every avenue of my life because I take care of myself and I keep promises to myself. So I trust myself. And in everything I do now, it's just like everything just kind of fruitions itself.
Yeah. No, that's, I mean, freaking game on, man. Fired up. Let's go.
Yeah, let's do it. Let's do it.
What do you have on a daily basis as far as habits that help you manage and direct and guide your thoughts?
Um, Thoughts are huge, man. We're talking about thoughts. Thoughts are where everything starts, in my opinion. You don't have an action that doesn't start with a thought before you do it, right?
That's right.
So guiding my thoughts is huge for me. Obviously, I wake up early, um, and I pray. I get my faith in set. And some people call it like meditation too, as well. You get, and I do that. And I head to the gym. Um, get to the gym, I do my workout, leave the gym, and I'm preparing the whole time I'm there. I'm thinking about what am I going to do for the day? Like, what do I need for work? What do I need? What needs to be done? And kind of my habits are like that. And then I try, keyword try not to eat until like 12 or 1 in the afternoon. Because I find, and everybody's different, but I find for myself that if I eat earlier, it's hard for me to stay within my goals because I stay hungry all day. That's just but that's a personal thing. But I notice that character trait in myself. And if I want to meet my goals, then I need to adjust things, and I adjusted it and it works great. Um, I obviously take my vitamins and stuff, but um, soon, hopefully, be doing ice bath every morning. That's one of my big ones that I wanna start doing. I did it, we put ice in my bathtub for a while, but so we're looking at getting a nice little ice bath going on. So, um, and then also, the sauna steam room every morning after I work out. Get in there and just think about what, ground myself essentially while I'm in there. Let a lot of thought processes go. Um, and like I said, your thoughts are huge. Don't get me wrong. Like, I struggle every day. I think everybody struggles every day. Waking up, and sometimes you have thoughts that are disowning, or thoughts that bring you down. But the huge thing is recognizing, and for me, anyways, the huge thing is recognizing those insecurities, or those thoughts that are causing insecurities, or those thoughts that are gonna bring me down. Recognizing them, and then are they fact or are they fiction? Are they real or are they not real? Am I proposing a subjective thing that hasn't happened yet? You know what I mean? So it's good to recognize subjective things that could happen to you, but it's not good for you to allow your emotions and who you are be determined by something that has not happened, or that most likely won't happen. So I think that that's one of my huge things that I do in the morning, actually, over everything, is during my workout, during the sauna, is taking those thoughts and putting them away if they come in. They're not there all the time, but if they come in, is making sure I deflect those thoughts right away. That way I can be the best person, not only for myself, but for my customers, but also for my family.
Yeah. Yeah, it's beautiful, man, and super powerful. And I find in my experience, by controlling first and foremost my body, like I call that the warrior. Like I just engage the warrior. This is the dude that does what he says he's going to do. This is the dude that follows even the smallest commitments. And so, in my journey, 2012, I went bankrupt. I was in a dark spot, babies at home. In getting out of that, I started with a commitment of 1,000 push-ups in a month, which is so benign, but yet so powerful because it was 33 a day plus one extra one somewhere in there. and and it was this rhythmic, like, day one, okay, I'm going to do 33 push-ups, and did my 33 push-ups, and I'm like, all right, I did that. I said I was going to do it, and I like it could start so small,
So
but this
small.
is this is how we get control of our thoughts, because some of this is hard to do. I don't think thoughts are our own. Like, there is just radio frequency. They come in,
They
they're like,
come
go,
in
go,
whether
go,
we
go,
like it
go.
or not.
Yeah. And it's like all over. And yet
They're everywhere.
I start my day very intentional. Like, there's a prayer that I read, there's a visualization, and I'm just like, I need to map out my thoughts. And now check this out. Like we could go down a marketing rabbit hole in a minute, but I'll keep us from that. But what I'm learning in the brain and neurology, like every time we sleep, all the short-term stuff is getting purged. Like the brain is taking in so much gobs of information day by day. Sleep restores bandwidth, and so we purge a lot. And this is why frequency advertising is so critical with the right message that hooks the brain. But that's a conversation for another realm. Where I'm going with this in as far as controlling our thoughts is like every day we have an opportunity to reset. We have a new blank slate. Like long-term stuff gets filed, short-term stuff disappears. And so in the mornings, we've got this beautiful opportunity to just reset. Where do we want to go? What do we want to think about? Who do we want to become? Like this is stuff within our control. And like you've explained and alluded to, we've got to learn how to make these commitments, men and women, but I think especially men. um, Physical commitments seem to work for me. And then that just adds a treasure chest of experience of like, look at that. I did that. I can make those commitments. Now I can go ahead and make this one that might be even a little bit bigger.
A little bit bigger, and it
Um,
all starts small. I mean, that's how you get
yeah.
it, making those
Yeah.
commitments, and it's crazy because it builds so much. Just a
Yeah.
little commitment every day builds so much. It
Yeah.
really does.
Yeah. The power of a commitment, like a little or a big one, they actually are the exact same thing in the
In the power,
world.
yep,
Like it's pretty significant, pretty cool.
and you feel accomplished too. So it's like, first thing you wake up in the morning, it says if you wake up in the morning, you make your bed. You've done something for the day already. So it's
Yep.
one. Those are huge, huge things.
Yeah.
Um, and it's crazy. It's crazy you said the push-ups thing. So I did that a long time, quite a while ago too. The push-ups that I'm going to do, this many push-ups, and then I actually started training myself to not think a certain way with push-ups. So every time I had a certain thought towards something that I was trying to remove from myself, I had to stop and do, 10, 20 push-ups, no matter
Mm,
what. So
yes.
then there was probably a month period where I was just doing push-ups randomly throughout the day. But what it did is it trained my brain that you don't want to
Yes.
do this, so stop thinking about that. So
Yes.
it takes away those thoughts.
Yeah. Some neurolinguistics programming right there, man. That's awesome.
Yeah. Absolutely, and
Amazing.
I think the visions and goals are huge, man. You're talking about, you have your I know we've talked before too. You have your visions and your goals that you do every morning. I think self talk is huge and reminding yourself what you want to do. That whiteboard on the back is, this visions, goals, sayings, stuff that I want to live by. And I change it all the time. So things can change. You know what I mean? Our visions and our goals change. But I think that one other thing that's huge is whenever it comes to goals, I think everybody sets goals that are, I want to do this, right? And it's like we're right here and we want to be right here. This is my goal by the end of the year is to be here. Well, that's okay. But if you don't have anything in the in between, right? And I think that's where a lot of people go wrong with their goals is they don't set goals that are, 30-day goals, 2-week goals. They don't set realistic like short-term goals to get to that long-term goal. So they have a huge like a huge prize up here without anything to get there, without a ladder to climb. And they're just hoping that they get there without a
Yeah.
timeline in place showing how they get there. And I think it's huge to have that timeline in place because I can't tell you how many times in my life I put all these goals up here. That's how I started with goals. It's like, oh, I want this, this, this. I'm going to do this. I'm going to do that. But like realistically, those are things that are hard to get, are hard to do. But I didn't map it out for myself. And now I map out, this is my goal for this week or for this month, for this quarter. These are the things I want to do. And, not just on business, but personal, family, like, there's all kinds of things that you want to do. But I think that everybody should line out goals that they can meet. Because not only do you meet those goals in a shorter time period of time, like you have your big goal, but then you have your short-term goals that you can meet. And it's an accomplishment and you feel good about it. You're like, yes, I did it. I'm climbing that ladder. So you can see yourself building all the way up and you don't have to wonder where you are in the in between. It's like, oh, I don't know if am I going to get there? Well, you don't know how to get there because you haven't put it down. So, and I think that putting everything down on paper, speaking it out, I think self-talk is huge. Self-love. People got to love themselves. And the way you learn to love yourself is by doing things and keeping promises to yourself, right? keeping promises to yourself so that, you can keep promises to other people. I've been down some dark places in my life too, and, felt like I had no confidence, felt like I was just out of the, you know, nothing was going to work for me and everything. And the crazy part is once you let go of what society and everybody else is pushing at you, and you stop caring about everything else, and you just learn who you are and learn to love yourself, it changes everything, man. It really does. Loving yourself is, I think, just on top, because if you can love yourself, then other people, your kids, your wife, your family, they're all going to see that. And you become, I want to say you become attraction, right? You become an attraction because other people see it and they're like, oh man, you went from this person that was just downer, then, was in a dark spot. And then all of a sudden, like on the other spectrum, you worked on yourself for 6 months or for a year, and you've learned who you are, and you've come to appreciate who you are. We're all made differently and we all have amazing potentials, but not, your best feature, your best potential may not be my best potential. And that's okay. And a lot of people are like, oh, I got to be just like that person. You don't have to be just like that person. Find out what you're good at, find out what you like, what you enjoy, and become the best person in that realm. And it just is life changing when you start to care about yourself, and other people see it too. Um, it's just, you're a happier person.
Hey everybody, this is Luke from Cooler Garage Doors. Just want to take a quick second to talk about our sponsor, Sommer Garage Door Openers. In our opinion, Sommers are the highest quality product on the market today. We recommend them for all of our residential garage door installs because of the variety of features they include, such as Wi-Fi connectivity and safety features such as a fixed chain, which moves along a secure rail to ensure your garage door opens quietly and safely. Click on the link in the description to learn more about Sommer Garage Door Openers.
I love it, man.
Yeah, absolutely, man.
It all rings so true and validated on experience. Would you have any tips or thoughts, or does it come back down to making small commitments? Like for somebody listening right now that might be, I don't know, maybe they are in a dark place. Maybe they're just like moving through the motions, and like their next level of unlock is found in another level of self-love. Like, how do we develop that? How do we allow ourselves to accept that? Because sometimes that can feel uncomfortable.
And it all falls back into the thoughts. Because who's telling you that you're not good enough? I mean, you may have
For
some
real.
people telling you you're not good enough, but who's telling you the most? It's going to be yourself. It's your
Yeah.
thoughts that are creating that downfall on yourself. So recognizing them and letting them go, and not caring as much about, what everybody else thinks. Um, you know, if we lived on other people's opinions of ourselves, I mean, how there's so many people that run on other people's opinions of them, and it's
For real.
it's unbelievable because
Yeah.
just the
Yeah.
day and age, and then I don't even want to say it, social media, everything that we do, it's like we base who we are based on what other people tell us we are.
Yeah. Yeah.
I one thing I can say is, my one of the huge things for me is my faith. Obviously, you know what I mean. I'm built the way I am. I am who I am, and I went through the experiences I went through to make me who I am. So just because you're down in a hole, or you're not doing well, you don't love yourself, maybe you don't have the job you want, maybe your life isn't where it wants, it doesn't mean that you are always going to be in that hole. A lot of it's just an action from you waiting to happen, to get out of that hole. And the other thing about it is, the cool thing about going bankrupt, the cool thing about doing any of these things, all these trials and tribulations we go through, is that develops who you are. And the cool thing about having that is that's just arsenal in your back pocket, because you know where you've been and you know where you can go. You know what I mean? You know where you've been, and all of those things. It's all experiences. And I believe in God. So for me, I believe that God didn't put me through. I put myself through a lot of it. But what I can say is all of the things that I went through developed me into being the person I am today, and I wouldn't change one thing. Uh, there's things that I wish I didn't do, wish I could take back, but at the same time, it developed me into the person I am today, and I love the person I am today. And without all of that experience, I wouldn't be as empathetic. I wouldn't be as understanding. I wouldn't be as able to help people, to guide people or talk to people the way that I do. So those have made me who I am, and I love who I am because of it.
Yeah. Love all that, man. You mentioned a couple of times, I'm going to turn the corner a little bit here. You mentioned a couple of times, power of mental clarity. Obviously, we've been talking about thoughts. Mental clarity plays into thoughts, and what we consume and eat plays into our mental clarity so often. And so, there is certainly some low hanging junk that we could go get real quick. We could be very intentional whether or not an intake of food is serving us, or if it's just like short term, um, you know, burst of dopamine or whatever.
Yeah.
Um, and then, with your profession, you're in smart living water. And so you are in really filtration systems. Like, what is in our water that we should know about?
Yeah, man. Glad you brought this up. My goal is to, provide every household that I can with clean water for their whole family. And one of the huge things of what's in our water is, if you look up the Environmental Work Group or EWG report for Clifton, Grand Junction, so anywhere that has water um, that's treated with chlorine. So anywhere that has, a water district, essentially, if you're not on a well and you're in a water district, the water is treated with chlorine to kill the live pathogens in the water. And one of the huge things is that whenever, we may only put 6 or 7 chemicals in the water to treat it, fluoride, multiple things, but um, you know, the chlorine mixes with natural forming compounds in the water and creates byproducts. And I'm not going to get too into detail, but essentially they're carcinogens, trihalomethanes, haloacetic acids. And there's a huge category of byproducts that are in the water because of treating it with chlorine. Now, don't get me wrong, we have to treat it with chlorine to kill the live pathogens. So it's up to each individual household to protect them and their families. And one of the big things that as a company we stress on is, your skin is your largest organ. So one of the things you don't want to do is you don't want to just treat half the job. So our skin is our largest organ, and we absorb the carcinogens, we absorb the chlorine through our skin, just like we do whenever we ingest it. And whenever we come out and do a water test, we kind of show you these things. And put your finger in a cup for 15 seconds, and that water will test negative for chlorine. So it's kind of a crazy thing to see, right? Because we absorbed all the chlorine in the water. But essentially, what we do is we do a whole home filtration system, and it's 8 stages. Pretty much, we remove everything from the water that is harmful for you, and give you clean water for your whole house. We also condition it without salt. So we absorb the calcification and shoot it back out the system. And so that's for my city applications. Now, for my well applications, I do use saltwater softeners. Sometimes there's high sulfur. There's different things that would require a saltwater system, maybe an iron mag. There's all kinds of stuff when you get into nasty water. And that's all depending on the well. So come out, do a free water test, show you what's in the water, see what's in there. But anybody who's on city water, our 8-stage system is by far going to surpass anything else that you can get. It connects to your water main and protects you at every faucet in your house. So your drinking water can be from the sink. It can be from anywhere that you want, because it's all been purified versus just having a filter underneath your sink, or even a single stage carbon filter. Most whole home filters that you're going to see, a lot of them are just a single stage carbon, which is like a fridge filter, which is going to remove some of the chlorine, but it's not going to remove the other contaminants from your water, which is one of the huge things that we are. Our goal is to completely protect you, not give you a false sense of feeling protected, right? So just because it doesn't taste bad, we don't want to put a cheap filter on there that doesn't taste bad, and the water doesn't taste bad anymore. You can't taste the chlorine, so you think you're good, but then you still have all these contaminants. So that's not the goal. Our goal is to completely clean out your water for your whole house, make it as soft as possible, protect your skin, your hair, protect your whole body.
Yeah. Yeah, I hadn't really thought about the absorption of skin taking on contaminants in that
And
way.
that's one thing that's not talked about enough, man. And a lot of people don't realize it. The market in general for what I do is all based on drinking water, right? So
Yeah.
whether it's bottled water, whether it's reverse osmosis, whether it's, one thing or the other. Everything is based around drinking water. Why is that? It's because it's the best seller, because it makes the most sense. It's easiest to comprehend. And it all started with the drinking water. But the more you research, the more you dig into it, people are becoming aware. It's super popular right now, for a lot of people. We're even working with home builders to, get them into homes before people buy the homes. There's a lot of people out there that are looking for homes and going to buy these houses, and they're not asking about it. That's kind of one of the foots in the doors for the builders that I got was, somebody was asking about it. So, now we're going to do all the houses, but the big thing is, protect yourself, protect your family. And it's been proven that if you, and kind of like you said, whenever I started, how did you, was it an example from your dad or anything? But it's been proven that the lifestyles that we choose, you know, there's a high chance our children will follow our habits. Some will do better, some will do worse, but there's a really good chance that if you care about having clean water throughout your house and your children know why, and you eat intentionally somewhat healthy, right? And your children know why, you're installing these at a young age, which is huge on building the building blocks of a foundation for a child. If your building blocks of a foundation for your children are um, every night having fast food and not caring about what water you drink and what you do, then they're not going to know those things. And so I think it's just an amazing thing. I'm very grateful to be able to do what I do because I am very passionate about it. So I couldn't pick a better job for myself because it's what I love and I'm passionate about health. So it's pretty
Yeah.
amazing.
Yeah, it seems pretty aligned, man. It
It
really
all
does.
it all lines out,
And
right?
yeah, and water is so critical. And um, where does the municipality water come from? Where does GJ's
Where does
water
the what?
come from? Where do we get our water from?
Well, it depends. It depends on if you're on Ute water, Grand Junction water. Some of it comes from the river, and then some of it comes up from over by the mesa.
Hmm,
So
got it.
it just depends on which water district that you're on. I will say anybody who's pulling from the river, which could be like your Grand Junction water, your Clifton water, it's going to be a little bit worse water. But you also hear, oh, Ute water has the best. They were rated best tasting water in Colorado. It's all wordplay again with the newspapers. It's best tasting water. It doesn't mean that those carcinogens aren't in there. Your haloacidic acid, your trihalomethane are still there. So there's still live pathogens in water that we have to treat with chlorine, which create these byproducts. So, like I said, if any municipal water district that if you're getting your water from a municipal water district, it is coming with those contaminants in it, no matter where you go. And that's the other thing is anywhere you go, Denver, anybody who treats their water with chlorine, you have these.
Got it, man. Heard all that. Um, I guess I want to open it up as we start putting little bows on this conversation. Jordan, how do
Yep,
folks learn more about your system, just track you, follow you? Um, where do we find
absolutely.
you?
Absolutely. So you find me multiple ways. You can look up Smart Living Water. We're at a Grand Junction, 970-773-6439 is how you call me and book a water test. Or if you have any questions, one of our huge things is we are not going to pressure you to buy. We will do a free water test. We will show you everything and give you all of the arsenal that you need to know how to clean your water and everything. And if it's something you want to do, then that's great. If it's something you need to hold off on for a while, that's also okay. One of the huge things about it is we want everybody to we want customers to be happy with what they're getting. So our goal is to help you, not to necessarily sell you. So as long as we can, help you, and that's kind of what builds on reviews and kind of your reputation as well. So that's what we go for as far as our goals. I also post a lot of stuff on my Facebook. If you look up my Facebook, Joredan Quigley, Joredan. So it's spelled a little bit different, Quigley. There's a lot of stuff on my Facebook. I post, every now and then I'll post a customer or I'll post different things, but then also look us up and look at our reviews. I always encourage people to look up reviews and see, see what you find.
Yeah, yeah, I love it, man. We'll
Absolutely.
definitely include those websites and your handles in our show notes so that for listeners, I encourage you to reach out to Jordan and track him, see what he's got going on. Today's conversation, man, super inspirational. I love the focus on thought, the intentionality, the authenticity, um, clean living. Like that just goes right back into a vicious circle of itself because that's only going to clarify thought, intention, authenticity, and it goes, it goes, it goes, and goes. So I really appreciate all of that.
It does, man. It does. And I think thoughts are huge. I think that's if there's one big thing to take away is thoughts and keeping promises to yourself. So,
Yes.
you know, do something for yourself that you normally wouldn't do.
Well stated, man. Really appreciate you. Thanks for the
Absolutely.
combo.
Thank you.
I would really appreciate it if you would help us continue the momentum that we have in subscribing, sharing, and liking our show. Let's extract really cool conversations with amazing people that are out crafting amazing businesses, relationships, lifestyles. So let's grow this thing together and just know that you are appreciated.